Latimer. I am a resident, and along with Kathy Gohan, we chair the Comprehensive Plan Task Force. We are 10 residents chosen by the Board of Supervisors representing different areas of the township. As mandated, we have 2 supervisors. We have 1 planning commission member, an historical commission member, and a member of the trail committee and other residents. In March, all 5 supervisors signed a contract with Chester County that allowed them to receive grant money to complete the project. We are working with Chester County Planning over a 2-year project. It's a 2-year project to complete the plan. Tonight from Chester County, we have 4 senior planners. We have 2 planners and 2 administration individuals to assist with the meeting. I'd like everybody to know that our meetings are monthly and they are posted on the Franklin Township website along with the agenda. All of our meetings are public. We do not meet out of the public eye. We've had several meetings already. If you're interested in seeing what we discussed, it is archived on the township website. So you can either log in through the website or you can watch it on YouTube. So that's all really I have to say right now. We have an icebreaker that we'd like you to watch. It's done by 2 of our task force members, both Kathy and Barry. If they're ready. Barry, you ready?
I think I'm ready.
All right. Hand it over to Barry.
Okay, so everyone should see a screen with ice in the corner. I'm hoping that that's true. Can someone give me a nod if that's correct? All right, there we go. Okay, so they ask us to give a couple of quick words, just like keywords about what we love about Franklin Township, specifically about the township, not just life in general, but the township, and then maybe one concern. And both are really important to share in the breakout rooms because we need to know where we're going. So the love part is just as important as the concern part. All right, so this is it. All right, so I'm a professor and researcher. I do laser science and work at UD as a professor. And these are my loves and concerns for Franklin. And we actually built a home in Franklin. So the first thing that we loved about Franklin was the fact that we could get an agricultural residential zoning. That's pretty special because a lot of places we looked, there's a lot of beautiful homes out there, but they're in a lot of beautiful lots, but very rarely can you get a lot where you can do agriculture and raise animals and things like that. So we designed the home, and I've shown here a little, I don't know, AutoCAD of, you know, we tried to keep it historically accurate with the arches and things like that and the windows and all that sort of thing. So this is what our home looks like after we finished it. And we tried to also finish it with things like Pennsylvania bluestone and Good Hope hardwoods, which is in Franklin, provided us with a nice slab. And so our kitchen island is shown here and things like that. We've really loved and enjoyed that part of building a home in Franklin. The second thing we like, and here we've got the slow motion of the chickens at dinner time, okay? So you can see how much they enjoy dinner. They're really hustling, okay? Is the rural lifestyle and the connection to the earth. And on good days, you know, we can get 20% of our food from the land, more like 15% is a yearly average. But we thoroughly enjoy the fact that we can have the livestock and chickens. And here they are over on the left side inspecting part of the garlic harvest for the year. Okay, so let's see, pasture animals. My goodness, if you go through Franklin and you don't see horses, goats, sheep, something like that, it's not Franklin Township to me. That connection to the agricultural base is what we love. Here's a picture of Sophie and Lisa. And that's and actually this in the bottom, this is baby Milosh and this is my son on the right. And you can actually, I don't know why we did this, but we trained the goats, leash trained them, and you can take them for walks. At least in Franklin, you can take them for walks. Okay, so those are my loves. Those are the loves. But then we have one concern, and it's this. I mean, I love Newark. I work in Newark and love Wilmington and Philly for their own reasons. This is us right here. Sorry, I need to go backwards. This is us right here, Croson Park and 1723 Vineyards. And here's a 1 mile that's down there in the red in the corner. And you can see it's only a few miles to the thin green, like residential areas of Hocassin that are pretty developed. And it's only a couple more miles till you just get this ashen gray of the developed areas like Newark and Wilmington 995. And so that's a concern for us going forward. And I think it's time. Kathy, are you there?
I'm here, right down
Okay.
the road from you, Barry.
Let me go. Let me get you on your right slide. Okay, hold on. And you're good.
Thank you. I did have to look a couple of times at Barry's slides because it looked like his chicken was drinking a martini on the porch.
No. No, that was an old fashioned.
Oh, it's an old fashioned. That's right. Yes. Very distinguished chicken. Hi, everyone. Very nice to see you all on Zoom. Since March, I have spent 172% of my time on some type of Zoom conference. You know, all of us have a little bit of fatigue. Everybody looks very serious, so I'm just going to cruise through and give you all thumbs up and highs, and welcome. So my name is Kathy Gohan. My husband and I own the Black Angus cattle farm that's at the corner of Good Hope Road and 896. We also have some frontage on Appleton Road next to the post office, and you can see our calf babies next to the post office. And then our bull, Mr. Powers, sits right along 896 next to the winery, and I encourage everybody to honk for Mr. Powers when you drive by. We bought our property here in 2011, and we have been cattle ranchers since 2004. We had an opportunity to buy out west. My husband is from Arkansas. We looked into moving to Arkansas, out west, way out west, or even Western Pennsylvania, and we landed here. The beauty of Franklin Township, the ruralness of it, the access to a market, these are things that we love. The access to big markets like Newark and Wilmington, Philadelphia, for our beef business was intriguing, as well as attracting people from those areas to come and visit our farm to learn more about farm life and what it's like to raise food in the 21st century. So something that we've done almost every single weekend since we've been here in 2011 is open up our farm up to visitors. And we have had visitors from Europe, South America, and Newark, Delaware. So from all over the place, people come and enjoy walking our pastures, learning about our little business. And we especially love having children come and just experience a day or a couple hours on a farm, meet a real farmer, and see animals up close. And we think that Franklin Township is just a beautiful place for people to come. So that's one of the things that we love, is the beauty here. And we deliberately, hang on one moment, Barry. So we also want to farm in between developments. So most farmers will try to get as far away from people. And we believe the opposite. We believe that farming and raising food should happen in villages and amongst neighbors, and that the sharing and growing of food is something that ties us all together. So, you know, it's the connectedness with the community and the beautiful farmland that we love here and would love to figure out a way to preserve, you know, for as many years as we can. The concern that we have, one of the concerns is, you know, the encroachment and the volume of traffic on the roadways. As I mentioned, over our 100 acres that we own here in the township, most of it does front either Good Hope Road, 896, or Appleton Road. So we see, and our cows report, high volumes of traffic and not very nice traffic behavior on some of those roads. Mr. Powers keeps a sharp eye out. So, you know, we are interested in working with the township, with our neighbors, with the county and the road department to see if we can figure out ways to ease traffic through the village, especially and along 896. So I love this slide. There are other nicer roads to accommodate heavy duty traffic, and they're highlighted here in yellow. And if there's a way that we can, figure out how to lighten the load on 896, that would be great. And Barry had mentioned to me that the city of Newark also expresses concern and is looking for ways to ease heavy traffic on 896 as it goes through the actual campus of University of Delaware on up. So I know part of this planning process and why I was interested in joining the task force was to look at this. So, we love farming between our neighbors. We farm behind the Chisel Creek development and the houses on Forest Gump Road, and I'm pointing as if you guys know where I am. And we love poking our nose over the fence and saying hey to our neighbors and having them do the same and talk to us about the calf babies that they see and the changes that happen on the farm over time. Having our beef business and the food truck, the Road Rancher, set up on Good Hope Road. We've had the pleasure of meeting so many wonderful residents, and talking about the life that we love here. So we just want to continue to build on that and make this an attraction for people to come and experience rural life for a couple of hours or an overnight or for a weekend or a couple of days during the week. And that's why we came here. We came here to do that in this township. I look forward to hearing what everybody else has to say, about living here. Thank you.
Okay, so I think it's time to go over to Janine, and she is going to do the breakout room. And the key thing here is hopefully to hear from everyone. And it's important to keep focused on a few topic words so we can keep clear notes on what you love and what your concern is. And if it's a more in-depth process that requires more detail and more explanation, then there is a special room set aside with Chester County Planning for the in-depth. So you may be assigned to yet a second room if you have a lot to share on one particular topic. So Janine, by all means.
Hello, everybody. Before we go into our breakout rooms, I just want to quickly introduce myself. I am a senior community planner with Chester County Planning Commission, and along with Mason and Benny, who you're seeing on Zoom, we are providing the technical assistance to the township in drafting the plan for its future, approximately the next 10 years. And this plan is called a comprehensive plan. So community planning through a comprehensive plan is really an organized approach to thinking about the township's vision and to plan for topics such as roads and vehicular circulation, trails and pedestrian circulation, agriculture as an industry, which we just heard about, and other types of future land use, as well as land preservation, historic and natural resources preservation, community facilities, and also planning for your village of Kimblesville and what you would like that to be going forward in the future. This community workshop is an opportunity to get your input on what the township's vision for its future should be and planning going forward in the topics, for example, that I just mentioned. The plan, the draft plan, once it's completed, it'll contain maps, it'll have tables, it'll have texts about trends and issues, it'll establish goals, and it'll provide recommended strategies to address those goals for how to guide the future of the township. There's also more information about what a comprehensive plan is and a little bit more about the process that was posted on the township website on the agenda, so you can take a look at that. I don't want to take any more time talking about this because I would like to get to the exercise so we can hear your input. So what we're going to do is we're going to do a breakout group exercise, and you will be divided into 4 different Zoom rooms. The group includes attendees, plus there will be a Chester County Planning Commission planner facilitating the discussion and taking notes for what will be a report back of each group after the breakout groups dissolve. There is also a plan task force member in each breakout group. There is a Franklin Township Board of Supervisor member, and then there's other township representatives that Nan had mentioned at the beginning of the meeting. So each group will discuss the same topics, and their topics that I just talked about. We're going to group them into 5 areas of talking, and there are questions to discuss for each topic. Everybody's getting to talk about the same thing. So the first topic will be roads, parks, trails, and other facilities infrastructure. The second topic is natural resources and open space. The third topic is agriculture. The fourth topic is land use, housing, and community character. The fifth topic is Kimballsville's Village and historic buildings in the village and also throughout the township. Each group will have 35 minutes to discuss these 5 topics, and then also list ideas, takeaway ideas about all of the topics. That you'll have another 15 minutes. So there'll be a total of 50 minutes for the breakout group. And again, 35 minutes to go through the topics, or as Nancy had said, about 7 minutes per topic, and then 15 minutes to summarize your discussion takeaways. Those discussion takeaways after the breakout groups are done will be discussed with the whole group by your planner facilitator in what we're calling a report back, so everybody can hear your group's discussion. The goal of these breakout groups, to keep in mind, is what you've already heard through the icebreaker from Kathy and Barry, but you're going to identify what you value about your township and what should be preserved in your township, and also what could be enhanced or what could be changed or improved or even transformed in the township. Importantly, this is a plan by you and for you, so your ideas and your voice are needed to develop this plan. We are going to go into the breakout rooms now. We want to ask that you, of course, can ask questions in your breakout room. We're going to ask you hold all questions to the very end of the meeting, unless it's a discussion, unless it's a question in the breakout room. And just some quick rules of breakout rooms. Please be respectful of other people and let everybody speak their ideas, even if you don't agree with their ideas. Please keep your comments focused because we have a lot to cover in 50 minutes. And allow everybody who wants to speak time to speak. Please listen to what everybody has to say. Stay on topic, keep the discussion moving, and also be creative and have fun. What you're going to see now on your screen is the breakout rooms are going to open. You're going to see an invitation that says, would you like to join this breakout room? And please click the join to join the breakout room. Thank you.
We still have some people not in the rooms.
Why don't we, do you want me to unmute them and ask them?
Okay.
Hi, I just joined the meeting late. I'm sorry I didn't RSVP, but I was curious. I just saw the sign outside the park.
Perfectly fine. Nancy
yeah.
can get you into a breakout room. We appreciate having you. Thank you.
See how. Fred.
Let me ask Eric,
Okay.
or not. Everybody's gone except for Fred.
For Fred.
Hi, Fred. I'm not sure if he's,
No, I don't think so.
he might be off for right now.
Yeah.
He sat there for so long.
Oh, I know, the poor thing. 7:05.
I'll just mute him, Nancy, or, you know, I'll leave him unmuted since he's the only one in case he jumps back on.
Yeah.
I'm going to walk away for 2 minutes. Is that okay?
Yeah, and yeah. I mean, if you want to leave, because after the breakout rooms, I can monitor the hands if you want. That's up to you.
No, I'm good to go. I just need a little break.
Yeah. Okay.
I'll bring
You know what? I'm going to pause this recording. Pause, stop. And then I can start it again when everyone comes back, right?
It's still recording.
Yeah, so I can pause. Reminder. Okay. Okay, Janine, you are on.
Okay, so I am going to do, we talked too long and we didn't get to fill out the takeaway worksheet. So I am going to just share my screen otherwise, and you're going to see everything we talked about. We had a really great conversation. Does everybody see my screen now?
Yes.
Where it says roads, parks. So one of the themes was that people like the windy roads and they are good for cyclists, but maybe the shoulders could be improved. There was conversation about the road shouldn't be straightened or widened because part of the charm of the township is having these rural roads, and part of the charm is being stuck behind a buggy and being stuck behind a tractor, and that's just what you get if you live in a rural community. So be careful about balancing any kind of road widening with taking away that rural charm. Interconnecting trails was important to existing trails and figuring out future trails. Something like dog parks, better signages for the parks. There was a lot of thought that there's some really good parks and preserves in the township, but more information about where they are, how to access them, and then how to connect them together could be helpful. There was also talk about there are properties coming up. I'm on this point right here. There are properties coming up that may be developed or coming up for sale, and it would be good if there were some kind of coordinated township effort to make the public more aware of what those properties are, and a real effort to try to figure out how the township and maybe the public could work with the property owners to see if those properties could be preserved as open space, as ag land, or if they were going to be developed, if they can be developed in an open space conservation sort of way so that the buildings are clustered close together and then there's a lot of open space preserved around the buildings. Getting into natural resources and open space, waterways, and continuing the water quality and quantity protection is important. The township has a really good deer tick program in place, and considering how to expand that program to invasives, both plant and animals such as lanternflies, would be a good idea. Natural resources are inherent, excuse my poor typing. Natural resources are really an inherent asset in the township, but maybe they're taken for granted until they're gone. So just something important to consider. And there really was a focus, we talked quite a bit about this point, there's really a need to consider options for preserving more land, both open space and agricultural land, because that open environment is what continues to give the township its rural character, and also helps with other things such as reducing the traffic on 896 and other roads because you don't have as many people in the township. So moving on to agriculture, we talked a lot about agriculture and came up with some ideas. Ag is a huge asset in the township, and maybe there could be some kind of branding campaign where there could be an ag thematic trail and maybe physical trail type of tour that could occur. There was talk about coordinating with the Visitors Bureau and really helping the farm properties with sort of economic boostering the current farm properties and maybe additional farm properties through this trail concept. Also, there was awareness that the ag in the township is bucolic right now, but agriculture has many forms and not all of it is bucolic, and that needs to be taken into consideration so everybody understands that some agriculture will be what people consider pretty and some agriculture won't be pretty, but it's all agriculture and it all could be part of this agricultural trail situation, and it all also promotes the agricultural industry and not new commercial residential development, that sort of thing. One of the ideas was maybe promoting a farmer's market in the village. And then land use, we talked a lot about ag, we talked about no new development is really wanted. Everybody likes 896 and 841 as they are now, and they don't really want improvements to it. And we talked a lot about the village in land use. Then in Kimball, we talked a lot about Kimblesville. We talked about how it's a gem, how it's really a unique place, and how it's important the township has a village and to keep a village in place. And then we talked about a bunch of niche ideas, whether it could be an ag destination in the region or whether it could be a trail and recreation destination in the region. And if that branding could be done and maybe some walkability could be done in the village, then things like a coffee shop could be encouraged. And maybe we could start with having a food cart in the village on certain nights of the week to start to bring people to the village. But overall, the idea, the village is a very important asset to the township, and nobody wants to see a slow decay of the village that eventually leads to a slow losing of the village. The township character and, in fact, the 1723 winery wouldn't be what they were if they weren't right near the village, and also having a lot of open land, both as open space that's been preserved and agricultural land that's both preserved and not preserved, but all in active use. There was also openness to encouraging new uses or additional uses township-wide that could preserve historic resources overall and lead to their economic vitality and continued use and reuse. Thank you. So next up, we will go to, let's say, Mark, to do a report back.
Oh, sorry, I was on mute. I will go ahead and try to share my screen. Did you just do that? Wait, is that us? That is us. Okay, thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, I shared already.
Appreciate
yeah, no
it. I like having an assistant. It works very well. So we discussed a lot of things. We did not get to the priority list either, so I will do what Janine just did. One of the things we talked about, a lot of recreation discussion, talked about how important it was in terms of the proximity to other townships and other types of recreational facilities. I think White Clay Creek State Park and so on are included in that. Also talked about the possibility, are there volunteer opportunities out there to expand recreation and recreational programming in the township? And that's something that was more of a question than an answer. How to attract volunteers, perhaps to have an Adopt a Highway program in the township. And I think one of the important things here that should be talked about in the comp plan is it would be helpful to have a Parks and Recreation Commission or board, which could facilitate outreach, facilitate programming in the township. It was also mentioned that the township would like to see Verizon step up and offer their cable television to all the portions of the township rather than what they have to do now, which is a combination of more than one provider. It was discussed here. We've heard this a lot in the southern part of the county. Is cycling is dangerous. While there's a lot of cyclists in the southern part of the county, the roads are dangerous. In general, there are not shoulders or appropriate shoulders and so on. So ways of maybe having signage in the township to accommodate cyclists more safely was discussed. Again, 896 traffic, that there obviously the road speed on 896, the speed that people are doing along that road is very dangerous, but also at the same time, kudos to emergency response when accidents do occur along 896 and other roads in the township. Somebody mentioned that they thought the minimal commercial was a good thing. I think in terms of more the rural character and not having too much traffic and not too much of that type of land use adds to the rural character of Franklin. And then we hear this a lot in more rural communities, that there's an issue with temporary signs. People seem to put signs everywhere, and it's difficult. It obviously becomes an eyesore, and again, it impacts the rural character, and maybe even road safety on some level. So there needs to be a little better enforcement, especially when you're talking about permitted signs. You can move down now. Okay. Natural resources and open land. Obviously, it was brought up by John that 34% of the township is preserved in perpetuity. I think primarily what people were talking about was that open space equals rural character. And that open space, just for open space sake, is important. It doesn't all have to be recreation. There should be areas of open space that are just to protect resources and protect that rural character. Yeah, I think that's pretty much it for that. Under agriculture, I know people were mentioning that what's great about the community is not only is there, agriculture as an industry still in the township, a strong part of the township, but there are also there's allowances and for people that just want to be hobby farmers as well. It just feels like an agricultural community. Of course, one of the concerns that comes along with that, and I think this group recognized the fact that along with agriculture can also come nutrient management issues and affecting the aquifer and water quality. And so that's something that should be addressed and thought about. Not taking away agriculture, but instead dealing with the issues that may be part of the industry and part of the hobby, if you will. And yes, somebody did mention keeping mushroom houses away, but I think the bigger issue there was composting facilities. And of course, that's a lot of news has been on composting facilities and mushroom facilities in Elk Township as well. So I think this is something that's on their mind and something that should be dealt with and addressed in some way. And let me see. Okay, there we go. We're on to land use. Avoid mushroom houses. Of course, there's the acre law and so on that has to be dealt with. But that was one of the things that certainly that is an issue or issue of concern. Affordable housing. We talked about how the fact that it's a very important use, very high on people's list of priorities in the county and the region, and that affordable housing should be considered in some way in the township. Mobile homes were brought up as part of that discussion. All right. Campbellsville, yeah, I mean, a lot of people seem to like it as it is. There was a discussion that it might be nice to have additional uses that could help bring the community together or bring the people together. There was a mention about a diner or that type of a use. Talked a little bit about taxing and how that can cripple retail businesses. Some discussion about testing. I forget what I actually missed what area that was specifically. I'm assuming it was in the Campbellsville area. And yeah, there's a real strong appreciation for historic resources in the township, and something that I think they would like to see prioritized as part of the comprehensive plan, and make sure that the policy continues to preserve and protect historic resources and appreciate historic resources in the township.
Thank you. Rachel, do you want to go next?
Sure, I can go next, and I don't need to share my screen. We did come up with a number of takeaways, and everybody seemed to like the idea of connecting the parks and the wineries with trails and just making the trail system more interconnected in general, and capitalizing off the people coming in to go to the wineries, and then having them come for the wineries and stay for the trails. We talked about the importance of traffic calming at the intersection of 896 and Appleton Road, how it's a big problem spot right now. And another problem spot that was identified was the Campbellsville curve. And there doesn't seem to be an easy solution for that. And it seems like there have been plans for quite some time. But sort of coupled with that was the desire to make Campbellsville more walkable. And to really sort of address some of the more localized issues, whether it's, decay of some of the homes or, other things going on a localized level. And of course, our group was very supportive of preserving the rural character of the township. There was some concern that about the township's ability to fund future open space preservation. And there were also concerns about specifically agricultural preservation and agricultural zoning that would therefore decrease the property value of farmers. And so preserving the value of farmers' land was raised as an important issue. And we also talked about the importance of having better signage and information about the township's park resources that have become a lot more important since the COVID days. And we also talked about the need to take into account the needs of different road users when road improvement projects are happening, and in particular, farm equipment. And I believe those were our main takeaways.
Great, thank you. Jake? Is Jake muted?
There we go.
Okay.
They were not letting me in. We actually did we're almost at the point of coming up with the final list of 10. A lot of the things that you've talked about, we talked about as well. So I'm going to kind of summarize it sort of in the big picture was the need to for balance, and the fact that in many respects you can't expand the roads, you can't expand the farmland, but what we can so we have to balance and kind of modernize and make what is existing in the township sort of work better for the future. One big issue was agriculture, and Dave is a farmer there and was really kind of opening our eyes to sort of a lot of the practical issues of farming. And that's a question of how to balance kind of the business and the practices of farming with a community that's also going to have land preservation, that's going to put limitations on what type of farming, and how do you stay rural and support farming at the same time. Didn't come with to a lot of clear answers on that, but I thought really raised that issue. Second is probably the diversity in housing, where to put it, express that there is a need for more diversity in housing, things like townhouses. Also, what to do with Kemblesville. I think people were talking about it needed to be more walkable, what it could be used for, what it couldn't. It just seems like to resolve that, there's going to have to be some really bold thinking about what to do with Kemblesville. There's so many issues that people want to do something with it, but then is there enough parking if you bring people into Kemblesville? Is the traffic going through the middle of Kemblesville gonna continue to be a problem, making Kemblesville, which has historic structures on all sides of it, work? So that was that's kind of what I got out of it. Was there's really going to have to be some kind of like bold ideas to resolve what's going on in Kemblesville. In terms of trails and pathways, making the municipality pedestrian friendly, doing it as a network, and it's going to have to be different types of pathways, and also dealing with traffic. Traffic came up in almost every discussion. Also, the notion of having traffic and even the layout of the roadways accommodating agricultural machinery, and so that's a big issue too. Another thing with just it came up I'm putting it as one of our major points was the notion that there's businesses in Franklin, there is industry, some of it's agriculture, some of it's different things. Finding out what is there and what is working, as opposed to trying to bring in a shopping mall or a bunch of retail. Try to figure out what is already there, how it can be supported, and then this notion in the post-COVID era where people are working from home more, does the existing zoning accommodate that? And do the existing ordinances, are they going to accommodate what could be happening in the next couple years, which would be a way to continue and promote business and agriculture, business and industry, but without having to build a big industrial park. So those are the, I'm hoping I'm getting all that we talked about, but it was a good discussion and a lot of different challenges and balancing everything together.
Excellent. Thank you all so much for doing the feedback. I'm going to wrap things up and then we're going to open up questions and answers if anybody has anything. So quickly, for the next steps, there are other opportunities for input. There is an online survey right now that's posted on the Township website. And as of today, there were between 300 and 400 responses. It's been open for 2 weeks and it will be open for 6 weeks total. It will end on October the 9th. So we're hoping to get a lot more responses. Also, the task force for this plan, as Nan was saying at the beginning, meets monthly. And that monthly meeting time and date is posted on the Township website. It is a public meeting and you are welcome to attend and listen to the conversation and then chime in, at the end in the question and answer session of those meetings. Once the survey is completed and also the completion of this community workshop, a synopsis of each will be posted on the Township website. So please keep looking for that. And there's another community meeting that we're going to be having sometime this winter. So that's another opportunity for input as well. The general plan of action is there will be a draft plan completed in probably early summer of 2021. And then the full plan should be completed by the fall of 2021. And please keep checking the Township website for any updates. So I want to go into the question and answer period right now. We'll leave about a half an hour for this, unless it's a shorter period of time. So as Nancy and Beth were talking about earlier, please ask questions you have, and we'll run this like an in-person meeting where one person speaks at a time and you raise your hand. Each person gets 1 to 2 minutes to speak, ask their question, and Beth will call on you one at a time if anybody has any questions.
Please feel free to hover over your name at the bottom and to raise your hand, and I will call on you.
I don't see how to raise my hand.
If you go on the bottom, all right, Nancy, you're better at this. If you hover at the bottom, well, you're a host, so therefore you don't have the ability to raise your hand. So if you want to ask a question, please go ahead.
Mary, you have your hand up.
I don't see Mary's hand.
Oh, she has her physical hand up.
Oh, okay.
Right.
Is it Mary McVey?
Yeah.
Okay, I'll unmute her. She has to unmute herself. I sent her the invitation.
Okay, I'm unmuted.
You're unmuted. Thank you for joining us.
I just want to say I think this is the best meeting yet. I'm really happy. I'm Mary McVey. I'm on the Board of Supervisors, and a lot of the comments I'm hearing from all our residents that are on, a lot of people want a Parks Recreation Open Space Board. We just started one, and I think a lot of the questions and things residents want will be worked through. This board is brand new. I think they're absolutely terrific. They're going to do amazing things for our township. Verizon TV, a lot of people want it for their television. I hear both ways. And no, it's not Verizon. Yes, it's the township. No, it's not the township. I'm going to try and work on that personally. I don't know if I'll get an answer, but I want to work on it, see if I can get an answer out of Verizon. And when I do, we'll put it on the website. As far as these temporary signs all over the township, I hate to say it, but I didn't notice them. I'm thinking maybe if somebody has an idea out there, maybe we could get like some group in the township that maybe would volunteer to make a list of them. Tournament, we're going to have a new website, supposed to launch October 1. Maybe they could put them on the website and we'll start dealing with them as a board. But to be honest, I didn't know this was a concern. So I'm glad it was pointed out. That's all I have to say.
And
Thank
Mary,
you.
you may want to reach out to London Britain because
Okay.
they are also reaching out to Verizon as well as
Okay.
Comcast. So if you could do it maybe as two communities, you would have a
London
stronger
Britain.
pool.
Will do. Thank you.
Thank you.
So Mary, this is Paul. I just want to jump in that we have had Verizon out to speak at our meeting, and they are not interested, or at that time, we're not interested in our rural township because it costs too much to run the lines. They were focusing on denser populations, but that was 10 years ago, and maybe you'll have better luck now. But it's definitely not the township. It's Verizon is not interested. And Chuck's raising his hand.
Why am I not seeing that?
Oh, he's doing it physically, Beth. Nobody's
Oh,
doing it with
I
the
apologize then.
Sorry.
It's okay. I will find Chuck. Here we go.
Okay. Yeah, I saw where we could raise our hand before, but it seems to have disappeared. But concerning Verizon, I have Verizon. So it's not everywhere in the township. So it's not the township. That was all.
Chuck, it was Verizon TV specifically.
Are there any other questions then? Jim is raising his hand physically.
This makes it fun. Hold on one moment.
If
Okay.
everybody goes under participants and you
That's
click
right.
on the participants, there's a button you click on and then you go find your name and you can say raise hand.
Yeah, it disappeared. It changed from when everybody was in their session to now. It's different now. So anyway, and speaking of the Verizon Comcast thing, we've been working. There's a bunch of us on North Creek Road. They've been working with John Lawrence, our state representative, and I'll just mimic what Paul just said. Verizon has, even as of late, has no interest in coming, at least to North Creek Road. I don't know about the whole township, but Comcast will come, and they every year for 10 years now they've been lowering their price, but it's still pretty expensive. I think it was about I think they lowered it to about $8,000 a person to come to their house, and that would be for TV, cable, and phone. If you want, Mary, I would call John Lawrence's office, and I can actually send you the name of a person in John Lawrence's office that's actually been talking to us recently, if you want.
And I would like to backtrack a little bit. If you can just state your full name and your residency. Are you a resident of Franklin Township or a neighboring one?
Yeah, I'm Jim Johnston, and I am a Franklin Township resident.
Thank you.
Are there any other questions or comments? Joan, is your hand up? Wasn't sure if you were clapping or you were asking a question.
I'm not asking a question. I want to comment on the Verizon issue. I've had several meetings with Verizon, and in the very beginning, they were ready to send us a contract, and we were going to have Fios TV. 94% of the township is wired with fiber optic cable for Fios TV. They will not bring it here after the major hurricane several years ago. I think it was Irene or Sandy rather, that devastated the East Coast further up the coast. Verizon decided to move their interest to other areas, as Paul said, that will provide higher income. And as late as last year, we had a Verizon representative on the phone talking about some other issues. And we asked her, what's the chance of us getting Fios TV in Franklin Township? And she said, never. So.
But Joan, just to be clear, we do have Fios for internet, just not TV.
Yes, we have internet, but no TV.
Yeah, thank you.
I do have a question from Darren Chick, if I may allow him to join us.
Thank you.
Hi, Darren.
Hello, Darren Chick. I am a resident of the township. A friend of mine was the lead attorney for State Farm and just recently retired. He lives in Landenberg, not in our township. And I could reach out to him as well, because what happened, State Farm tried to pull a similar thing within Pennsylvania about wanting to pull out of certain areas because they were getting killed on basically the comprehensive, all the deer hitting cars. And it wasn't profitable for them to stay in those townships. And it ended up going at the state level, and the state said, hey, if you want to leave Pennsylvania, you can leave Pennsylvania, but you don't have the opportunity to pick and choose townships. You're either here or you're not. So I wonder if the county at large doesn't have some opportunity to apply the political pressure in Harrisburg in a way that it was brought to State Farm. And I could get more information if there is interest on that from David.
Thank you. Are there any other questions or comments from anybody? Sounds like we'll definitely have to investigate Fios TV a little more in some way. Well, if there's no other questions or comments, I think we are going to call it an evening.
I'd like to say one thing. I'd like to thank you all from Chester County Planning. This was a great meeting. You did a great job. And I think Franklin Township residents owe you something. This was fantastic.
Thank you. I appreciate you saying that. Thank you all very much. And please keep track of the township website, and please fill out the survey, and please tell your neighbors and friends in the township to fill out the survey also. It's really important that we hear from you all. So thank you so much. Wonderful, wonderful meeting, and you all have a safe and wonderful rest of your evening. Take care.
Everybody have a good night.